Well, good evening and welcome to the Monday Review Show. This is where we discuss all things refereeing and only refereeing, by the way, decisions that are taken, not taken, penalties awarded, etc., etc. I do want to maybe apologize in advance in that we are having some difficulty. As many of you will know, there was a big outage with some of the networks overnight, and not all of them have been restored. So we may have a little bit of a problem with the connection tonight. So please do bear with us. I'm delighted to be joined once again by my very good friend and colleague from England, former Premier League referee, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL, as some of you will know. But if you don't, the PGMOL stands for Professional Games Match Officials Limited, and they look after the referees in the Premier League and the Championship, and the man also responsible for the introduction of goal line technology, which, as you know by now, has been a huge success. Keith Hackett, thanks for joining me again, Keith. Great to see you.
Yeah, the weeks go by very quickly.
Wow, and do they what? You know, when we have these international breaks, it seems to drag forever and ever. But it's great to be back with local, if you like, Premier League action.
Yeah.
So we start with the Arsenal-Everton game, the penalty situation with Anthony Taylor. Do you recall that one?
Yes, I do. This was Taylor in a really good position, looking through the players. And what you had was a challenge for the ball, but the player made contact with the knee of the opponent as he played the ball. And of course, in challenging that player for the ball, the attacker went to ground. Taylor immediately blew for the penalty kick. Now, at that point, I was finding it difficult as to why Stuart Atwell, VAR, is going to come in, because I didn't see that as a clear and obvious error. They then showed, almost within hours, not immediately, I saw then on social media, somebody post a clip where you see the player clearly play the ball, but it fails to show the knee-on-knee contact. As a result, VAR comes in. Anthony Taylor takes an age to convince himself that it's not a penalty kick. And I think that leaves, the old subject of this notion that appears to be the trend within the PGMOL and not in Europe. Because if this incident happened in Europe, 99.9% certain Taylor has awarded a penalty kick, VAR wouldn't come in. So what we've got, and what I think Howard Webb has got to sort out, is the protocol on what is clear and obvious. And for me, I think they should have stayed with Taylor's decision as he saw it. But then, I go nose up. He's gone nose up 6 minutes, and he's made this decision with the pressure, knowing that when he's gone to the screen, we know he's going to go with the VAR decision. Now, it was really refreshing of Australian referee Jarrod Gillett in the Crystal Palace Brighton game, where he was sent to the screen to reverse his decision and stuck with it. And I think here we've got a variable bar, and we've got too wide a spread and a lack of consistency in decisions around free kicks in this situation and handball offences equally. Because again, you know, do you come in? Do you stay out? I would just like the VAR to sit out a little bit, but with the level of subjectivity that we're seeing in law application, throw 100 cards in the air and they're not going to all land on the same spot. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, we're left with a view, is it a penalty kick? Is it not a penalty kick? Because we know in the same scenario that's going to happen next week or next month, we're going to have a different outcome.
Yeah. I just, you know, it's important to let everybody know out there, you guys watching, referees and non-referees for that matter, that at the end of the day, it is the referee's decision, the man in the middle with the whistle. He's the one, and the Law 5 clearly states the decisions of the referee regarding facts connected with play, including whether or not a goal is scored and the results of the match, are final. That means the referee's decision is final, regardless of VAR. The decisions of the referee and all of the match officials must always be respected. And that's Law 5. Now, it would appear today that VAR is being used more and more and more in the decisions that it's allowed to make decisions on. And one of those is a penalty kick or not. But for a player to say, I got the ball, ref, as they always do, and you'll see the figure, I got the ball. Yeah, you did with your right foot, but what did you do with your left foot? You dragged it after you and you fouled the guy by doing that. So just the fact that you got the ball doesn't give you carte blanche to do anything you like with the other leg. And that appeared to me to be something of an issue for Anthony Taylor in arriving at a decision. But Keith, more and more people are saying, oh, we know it's going to happen. As soon as the referee goes and looks at the screen, he's going to be guided by the VAR guy and he's going to go along with the VAR guy. Now, that means they're giving up their responsibility of being, as I just said, the ref's decision is final. They're giving up that or abdicating their responsibility. Would you say that's fair comment? Or I wouldn't like it to be criticism, but would you say it's fair comment?
I think it's fair comment. I think that when we've actually listened in to the communication to the referee, which really I think is the source of the problem, I think that we're seeing a running commentary in the ear of the referee. I think that would give me a great difficulty in concentration. It would affect that for sure. And I think that I don't need the influence of a VAR operator preconditioning my view. I've already made the decision. You're telling me I should have another look. Then VAR, shut up. Let me go to the screen. Let me have a look at the video. I don't need to be told what I'm looking at. If I'm looking at the video and I see what I saw, I'm going to stick with my decision. But, you know, I think I didn't realize, but somebody said that it took about 4 or 5 minutes, if not more, for this decision outcome by Anthony Taylor. We've got, however we look at it, Anthony Taylor's going to the World Cup. He's a world-class referee. He might not always get it right, but why should Stuart Atwell come in on that? Because for me, there's a doubt about whether it's the bar for a clear and obvious error. Now, if it's a clear and obvious error, right, Taylor's going to go to the screen and he's going to change his decision like that immediately. But he's interrogating it, and he's saying, "Are you sure? I can't see that." And we're not privy to that level of conversation that's going off. All we are privy to is the referee then comes to the side of the pitch and tells us why he's overturned his decision. And I think we're all fed up. We're all fed up with the interference in the enjoyment of the game. And I never thought that a piece of technology in the hands of referees and VAR operators who've clearly not been trained adequately enough. And, you know, I would contend that in Europe, and I do watch Champions League football, and I think I'm almost getting conditioned, is the VAR going to come in on that? And they don't. And nobody says anything. The game just goes on. But what we're getting now is we've got VAR refereeing the match.
I was just going to say that. Is that not the fault of the referee to be strong enough and say, no, I don't agree with that. This is the way I see it, and I'm going to stick with my original decision. And how many referees have you done that? And I want to say to you guys out there, this is not a program to criticize referees. Keith and I have been there. We know what it's like. It's a difficult job, but you have to have the guts and the backbone that to stand over your decision. Now, video could and might help you to realize that, oh, well, I made a mistake there, so I'll go with that. But it just seems to be, I hear everybody saying, oh, he's going to the screen. That means he's going to change his decision. And that appears to be the case. Are the referees now using VAR as a crutch to lean on? I don't mind them using it as clarification that what they have done originally is correct or incorrect. It's important that justice is not only done, but seen to be done. But sometimes they just use the VAR system. And VAR is only an assistance to the referee to help him arrive at the correct decision. But they do seem to be using it as a crutch.
I think that what we've seen is VAR impacting greatly on officiating. One, I think it's created lazy referees. I think it has impacted
100%.
on their confidence. I think the lack of leadership in terms of, training and management of the VAR process. I still stick with the view that it's a specialist role. I don't care who that person is, but if he's an experienced existing referee that's now giving up his active career as a referee, and all he's going to do is VAR, and every time there is an interference for a 6-month period, I would want every time that to be interrogated. It's almost like, it's like when a police officer has to get out his gun and fire his gun. There is a detailed interrogation of that action. And as a result, it puts a line in the sand and it improves the training of that officer and it enhances the thinking process. So for me, I want less chatter, less noise from VAR. And I'm now beginning to lean towards the challenge process. If we're going to stick with VAR, then let's give the managers 2 options to challenge, and that's it.
That's this new green card.
Yeah, and just like cricket, if the challenge is positive, they retain that challenge, because at the moment, what we've got is overindulgent, inconsistent involvement. And, as I've said, this weekend, we saw Jarrod Gillett go to the screen and say, I'm not having it. I'm staying with my decision. And again, I wonder what level of encouragement goes in to referee training by Howard Webb to say, look, guys, you're the referee. You've just quoted Law 5. Use Law 5 as your foundation to get into VAR process. But I honestly, I don't know anyone at the moment in the game. I haven't spoken to the Premier League referees, in fairness, in recent months, but I don't know anyone in the game who's actually for VAR now, that's positive about VAR. And I'm the guy that has enhanced and used technology in the format of communication kits, goal line technology, introduction of Prozone and an analysis system. And therefore, I've seen the benefits of technology. But, you know, I sit amongst fans and I go, wow, we're killing the game at the Premier League level. And whilst the stadiums are full at Premier League games, it's not the product that we used to see when VAR wasn't there. There was errors, don't get me wrong. I was there at the PGMOL. I had to talk to managers when referees make errors. But I'll tell you what, when we'd gone through the process of talking with that referee and the match officials and discussed them openly, the referees didn't repeat those errors.
You're watching the Monday Review Show. We're on every Monday night, 8 p.m. on facebook.com/Hanging Judge Ref. And I'm joined by Keith Hackett, former Premier League, former FIFA referee, former head of the PGMOL, and the man responsible for introducing the goal line technology. Now, if you'd like to make any comments, please do so. There's a little thing there on your screen. You can make a comment there or ask a question, whichever you prefer. Keith, this thing about the ball hitting the referee and it has to stop. The referee has to stop the game, and regardless of the fact that the team who will lose possession perhaps could maybe regain possession from the rebound off the referee, he still has to, by law, stop the game and drop the ball.
Yes, I mean this is similar to the restart for an outside agent, and so as a consequence, we saw Simon Hooper. The ball struck him, and the ball, it was aimed for the winger, so it was aimed out to the right wing. But on the way, it struck the referee, deflected, and impacted on the movement of defenders because they were going to defend the straight ball and then had to readjust when it deflected. And much to my amazement, he allowed the game to continue. Now, the law, as written, I've searched for papers that might express a different view, but at this moment in time, if the ball strikes the referee, he should blow immediately and then give a drop ball. Now, if it's a drop ball outside the penalty areas, then it's with the player who last played the ball or the team that had possession when they played it. Of course, if it happens inside the penalty area, the drop ball on all occasions is with the goalkeeper.
Okay, so I can see your point there now. If the player was playing the ball out to the wing, and the defenders the opposition are anticipating that and maybe moving in that direction, and then it hits the referee but goes to a player of the same team, that could be putting the defenders off. I think that's probably the principle.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, look, Hooper is a referee who likes to have high energy in terms of gameplay. And therefore, you know, he does apply advantages quite a lot. So he's in that mode. He's in that mode, and I can understand why he applied the advantage. But at the time, when those incidents happened, you interrogate and you start searching the laws of the game, and then you look at any glossary that might be available to assist you to check. Because this is what you and I did when we were active referees. We saw incidents on television and we went, well, is he right on that? Let's just check law. And we did that instantly. I did an interview earlier, and I'll just bring it up, with Radio Sheffield, BBC Radio Sheffield. They have a 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock program called Football Heaven. And the guy in the driving seat today was Rob Statten. And he was discussing the fact he has a concern, like I have, about the amount of time wasting that's going on in our game.
Oh my goodness!
And in the game involving Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend, the goalkeeper went down, and the players ran to the touchline, and there was 3 members of coaching staff giving coaching input, and the player was allegedly receiving treatment. And this becomes a nonsense, because not only is it breaking up play, we know that the referee doesn't add on time. Now, I think in recent weeks, I just want to make an observation for referees to look at. I've seen a number of occasions in recent weeks, this season in particular, where players have gone to ground and the referee has continued play. And he's not accepted the fact that he's going to stop play immediately. Now, here comes an incident this weekend where in the Liverpool game, Virgil van Dijk, who normally has a go at the opposition, this time fouled his own player. And his player went to ground clutching his head. And we've got to look at what is the referee looking at, because what we had was 3 players jump for the ball and 1 sustains an head injury. And here we go now. We know in that situation, the protocol should be stop the game. But we also have to take into account, did the referee actually see the outcome? Because from that challenge of the 3 players, we had the ball break immediately, go on attack, and a goal result. And the clamour today and the debate is, should the game have been stopped? Now, here is where I look at it. Having been in that position, your focus is the ball and the play, and he may not have seen the elbow of Van Dijk hit his own player and the player go to ground. He allows play to continue. The ball's in the back of the net. Now, for me, I'm always one that actually says, why should I rule out a goal? I want to keep goals. There aren't enough of them. And you've got to go to a high fence to convince me to overturn it. So this was a practical situation during the course of the game. And you say to yourself, yeah, it could have gone either way, but I'm supporting Oliver on the basis of practical refereeing at the highest level, where his concentration is, he's not looking at the injured player and the outcome. He hasn't got a clue whether it's an head injury or not. The player's gone to ground. All too often, players are going to ground too easily to stop attack, stop the play, and this has worked against the player.
And that was my next question to you, Keith. There appears to be more and more referees are not now blowing for what are really frivolous fouls. And in fact, they're not even fouls, they're pretended. let me call it bluntly, they're cheating. They're falling down, pretending to be injured, wasting time, pretending they've got cramp, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I've noticed, and I, like you, watch a lot of games on the weekend. And in past weeks, there's a lot more the referees are allowing the game to continue flowing and not giving in. A guy falls down, pretends, even the slightest little tip of a finger on the back and the falling down. Surely to goodness they're not fouls. And I'm glad to see that the referees are getting on with it. And it would appear from that the players are now beginning to realize that when they behave in that nonsense manner, they're not going to get away with it and the game will go on. And as happened with the Liverpool game, Manchester United went on and scored.
Yeah. And I, you know, whilst this criticism of Michael Oliver, I do think this weekend that Michael Oliver had a good game. It's a big game. I've refereed that game. It can be a very difficult game, a challenging game. And in fairness, I saw a degree of calmness. I saw him communicating, not in a frivolous manner, in an authoritative manner, explaining. And I thought, you really are preparing yourself because, of course, he's like Taylor is in line for going to the next World Cup. So I think it was interesting. But, you know, my view is that I would have them out every week. I'm disappointed this week that Gillett is not out because I thought in the Brighton game, Crystal Palace game, he delivered a very good performance. And when a referee does that, reward the referee, reward and enhance the confidence by picking the phone up and saying, "Look, thought you had a really, really good game. You're out next week, mate." You know, and that's it. Put the phone down, leave him in a good place, and let him have the confidence that he's in form and tell him. So for me, I'm disappointed for whatever reason Gillett's not out this coming weekend.
You picked up something in the Spurs game as well.
Remind me.
I knew you were going to say that.
Like you, I've seen a load of games this season.
Something you mentioned about in the Spurs game. What was it?
I'm trying to find it. Apologies. Yeah. There's that many.
I know. Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, I'll tell you what. There was an interesting one in the Chelsea game.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right. And I want to raise this because there was a double yellow card that resulted in a red. So season today, Chelsea have had 5 red cards.
Does that include the manager?
I don't know whether it includes the manager or not. It might do. I mean, he was in the stand.
He was in the stand this week.
Yeah. So I have a tip here for Howard Webb. Give them a call and go in and see them. And arrange for a presentation to the players to demonstrate what is a careless, what is a reckless, and what is an excessive force challenge that endangers the safety of an opponent, a red card. Demonstrate that the impact of a yellow card that puts you in line, should you commit a second offence, to be sent off. And then I read today, interestingly, that the IFAB are exploring, which means they're in discussion, with a view to allowing appeals on double yellow cards. So there you go. Have they been listening to us? Yeah.
Oh, and on that note, Keith, my goodness, the time goes so quickly. Yeah. Thank you very much again, Keith. Always great to talk to you. We'll do it all again next week. And thank you out there for watching. And please tune in again next Monday night, 8 o'clock on facebook.com/Hanging Judge Ref. And that's for the Monday review show. Until then, Good night and God bless. Thanks, Keith.
Good night. Thanks.